Hi, my name is Professor Kevin W. Tharp, and today what we're going to be doing is an exploration in the area of analytics and the computer brain interface. So, to start this conversation, I want to start with this article by James Clear. What are you measuring in your life? This follows on the idea that, as it says in here, what we measure, we improve. So, what we're really talking about is analytics. So, for the frame of reference, this conversation is going to be about analytics and how it leads to and interacts with the computer brain interface. So, here the idea is, and this is real common in businesses, what we measure, we improve. And that is the argument for data driven businesses. Um, but one of the important things when we move out of the strictly business world is you can't measure everything. And so there are things that you simply can't measure. Love, it's important, but how do you measure it? Morality, finding meaning in our lives. So that's sort of the starting point of this is we've got this analytic. There are things that we can measure. There are things that we can't measure. And every day we are going through a different set of of tools that we use to measure our lives. For instance, it is not uncommon for me to see my wife walking around the house for no reason towards the end of the day because she measures her steps. And by measuring her steps, that gives her insight into how much walking she's done. And so she has goals for how much walking she wants to do in each day. And an instrument such as a Fitbit or a smartwatch or anything like that is a tool that will allow you to do that. So there's a lot of tools that we have in our life that allow us to measure the things about our own lives that are important to us. For a little bit of background about me and how I came to the point of having this conversation, prior to the pandemic that started in 2020, well, started in 2019, but I was heavily involved in research into virtual reality, how to use it for storytelling, how to use it for teaching, how to use it for producing content, not just consuming content, but producing content and getting it out there. And so that got me thinking about different ways of perceiving the world around us. And in the process, I created an area of study called the Perceptive Reality Project. You can follow this page on Facebook. This is the Facebook page where I post some of these articles that come up into my my perception as I'm looking at these different areas. And one of the things that I came to my attention most recently is this area of spirit tech, and you can see that I reference it there on the screen. And so, what spirit tech is, this is a book that's written about it, but it's an area where researchers and scientists and therapists and a whole lot of people are reaching out and studying and trying to learn how to use those analytics in order to help us to improve our lives from with the improve our lives. So Spirit Tech is a book that I started reading, and I became aware of some technologies in there. One of them is called Muse, and it's a headband. And what they look at their data, because when we're talking about analytics, we're talking about looking at data and trying to create insights and actionable insights. So things that we can where we can take and look at data and use that to inform our decision making process about things that we want to do to improve, whether it is the return on investment or whatever it may be. Um, there's also a tool that goes along with that headband. So there's other technologies that are combining in this. So The Muse is the headband. It's the tool that is using to gather the monitor or to gather the data in the form of the brainwaves. But there's other tools that are being used to try and look at that data from different ways. One of them that I happen to have is called Mind Monitor. And what Mind Monitor does, this is an actual recording of Mind Monitor tracking. By the way, this is the Muse headband. This is my personal headband, and I use this. And so this morning I had this on, I connected to the Mind Monitor software, and I created this sample. So what it's doing is it is using the electricity generated in my brain, and it has turned that into analytics that allows us to see what's going on in in certain areas of my brain, focusing on those the brain waves. And so what the goal that Muse has is, as it's seen here, it's a research grade EEG device. EEG meaning that it's looking at those electrical impulses from your brain. It passively senses your brain activity and translates that into guiding sounds of weather to help you stay calm and focused. So they're actually making that jump from, hey, we're looking at data, to trying to use the analytics of that data in real time in order to help us to and the two areas that Muse is focused on is meditation, so helping you to get into a deeper state of meditation, or sleep, so to help you go to sleep, get deeper sleep, get better sleep, or return to sleep if you wake up in the middle of the night. And so what it does is it takes and it senses the feedback in your brain, and it uses the analytics of that in real time to feed you to give you neurofeedback that corresponds with what your brain is doing. And so what that looks like is you can hear, for instance, when your brain is getting into the targeting regions, you can see here these little birds tweeting. So there's different sound backgrounds, and the sound backgrounds are kind of the key, because that the sounds that they feed you are based upon what's happening in your brain. And the idea is to allow you to get into a deeper meditative state, or to go to sleep, sleep better, whatever. And so that it is actively taking the data from your brain, and as you're falling asleep or as you're meditating, it's giving you sounds that are cues that you can know. For instance, if you start to your mind starts to wander when you're meditating, it'll change the sounds so that you know that you're starting to wander. Or when you're getting into those target states, it can give you other sounds that will help you know immediately which direction your brain is going. I use this myself in my meditation practice, and also in sleep practice, because I'm trying to understand how this works. And it's actually really cool technology. It helps me to get into deeper meditative states. And I've been using this for about 5 months to try and different things, and it is successful for me in helping me to achieve those deeper meditative states. So that goal that they have of helping me, uh, it is a successful tool. And so what we've moved on to here now is we're talking about innovating, interfacing with the brain. And so what Muse does is it gives you feedback, but there are other things that are going on out there. Neuralink happens to be one of them that has recently got, or they're in the process of getting permission to go to human trials, where they are actually adding computer chips and to your brain. So they're implanting them into your. It's a neural implant. That the idea is to help you to control your computer or mobile device. And so the way that it does that is that they plant a link into your brain, and then they connect these little neural threads to different places in your brain. And I won't even begin to try and go into how they know where to do it or whatever, because I really don't have a grasp of that. But what they are doing is they've created an interface between the brain itself and this microcomputer that is designed to help you to accomplish a goal. And so that is the state of where we're in. We are actually in a point in time where there are medical approvals, medical tests where they are uh, using robots to put chips into your brain in a way that will allow you to communicate um, with the chip, and where your thoughts will allow you to accomplish specific tasks. So there's a number of competitors to this. As you start digging into this, this is quite a bit wider than you might think. There are a number of companies that are in this area, and it's making waves. And you'll see here that this particular website thinks that Neuralink and its competitors are the future of humanity. And that starts to really make you think about what is really going on here, and why is it that we're moving in this direction, and what are the questions that we should be asking about this. And so it brings me to a book that I have actually had some of my students read in the past called The Feed. And this book is about that, at a point in time in the future where information is sent to your brain in the form of a feed, and it affects the way that you think, it affects society. Science fiction at this point, but reality comes from science fiction. So I'd recommend you read that just to get to thinking about this. But what happens now is all of a sudden we have to start thinking about things like, if somebody's got a computer that's directly wired to my brain, what does that do about privacy in my brain? Who has access to that data? Who has control? And the real question becomes not only privacy, but free will. Do they have the ability, when you've got a computer chip connected to your brain surgically, inputting and outputting data from the brain waves that you have? What are the questions we need to ask when we're walking into a world where we are very close to the point where this is going to be happening? It's already being done in primates and other animals, I believe, where they're playing video games simply with their brain. And so it leads us to the point where we as a human race need to look at some of these questions, because they are going to be upon us, and it's something that we can't just let happen. I'm not saying that this is positive. I'm not saying it's negative, but we need to have ethical considerations. We need to have talks about what are the ethics of this, and the instances of where businesses have gained access to data and then exploited that are so numerous, you can't, there's no sense even beginning to talk about it. We just know that people will exploit access to your information and data. Well, when that is directly coming to and from your brain, what is the situation there? And that's what I want to have a discussion about. Let's start talking about this. In my classes, this is going to be one of the discussions that we have. So if you're one of my students, I would like you to go in and read some of these, and we'll drive a discussion from there. I'll take that offline, because not everybody who's going to watch this will be one of my students. But that's where we're at. And all of a sudden, analytics plays a whole different place in our lives, and we need to talk about that. That's all I've got for now. I'm Professor Kevin W. Tharp, and I hope that this has got you thinking in a way that maybe you haven't ever thought before. That's all I've got. Thank you very much, and goodbye.